Hey guys, my name is Ruben Phoenix and welcome to the Structure of Man. Learn to draw the human figure from your mind training course. Okay, so now in the previous lesson we went through really this moment of eureka for the mind to begin to understand really how we can get it comfortable with the idea of drawing with the gesture, a gesture system. Right? As long as it gets the concept of where the division is, right? So you can draw very quickly now if you do multiple drawings like this, be able to just draw out that gesture line and quickly be able to lay down figures, right? So it doesn't really matter if the figure is standing or if the figure was in a stance, as long as we can do the ratios and understand them. We'll be able to draw out the figures in much more fluid sense. So now in this lesson, what we want to look at is before getting into the arm bones, here I just want to show you one other thing, and that is really understanding the power of the formulas, right? So as artists, we can really just about do anything, and especially our own inventions. So here, let's say if we wanted to be able to take an object. So here we're going to take the foot, right? Let's say we wanted to take this object, and we've created like these formulas for it. So here I'm just going to draw in perspective a 3D plane that's going to pretty much just go in this direction over here, right? We don't have to do perspective like it getting shorter. You can if you want to. But let's just keep it like this, like we're processing information like a computer, right? So we take our side formula. So here we're going to be looking at the left outer foot. Okay, so here we're going to put down the formulas for the foot. Again, we already know how to draw it in 3D by taking the box, but here I'm just showing you, regardless of what kind of object it is, it can be molded into a 3D form so the mind can begin to understand, right? There's several ways of doing it. All right, either excuse me, or you could have done this in clay if you wanted to. It doesn't matter, right? So if you take this line over here, so we already know, okay, well, let's say that this was going to be the left. We already know about this idea here for the formula, left outer foot, right? So it's going to go from here, it's going to get this nudge, and then it's going to come down in this way. Right, we already know about this, that it's going to be pretty much just coming down in this way, and it's going to go up like this. Then we're going to get pretty much the heel over here, and then it's just going to go something like this, right? This is our formula for the left outer foot, and here we already know that this is obviously going something like this, okay? And we know that over here, uh, uh, this thing over here is going to be the outer, right? So it's going to really just go this way, something like this. So once we have this, right, now if we wanted to now mold this into 3D using formulas, we can also do that by now taking another plane and going in this direction, let's say. Okay, so here we're just going to draw out this other formula. We're just taking two planes and now lining them up. So here I'm just going to draw this one out over here and draw the other one. Now you have to envision this on the other side here, right? So it's going to be the same thing, is you're just going to make these grids like this, right? So you could do this on tracing paper, two different planes. So if you go back to the original formula here for the outer, you know how this is going to be. It's basically over here where this is. We already know that we had decided that it's just going to be like this over here, and this is going to be the notch, right? So it's going to go like this over here, and then we already stated that over here where this line is if we're going to come over here, right? So this would be like this curve here for that foot line. Now we're drawing on this other plane here, that formula, right? So the other one is obviously here where the toe is supposed to be, right? So this is just going to go like this and go in this way over here, right? Just look at the formulas that we've done, but this should be in your memory now. So once we've gotten this, we know, okay, well, from the other side, we had decided that it's going to go over here like this, and then from here, we're just going to do a small curve, and then it's going to swing in a little bit. Okay, so what happens is, now we've got that information here, right? So you can see where this is going to be over here. So once you have this, right, we basically can now just remove some of these lines here, the grid lines, and just start to now begin to understand, okay, so how can we now take this information and make this into a three-dimensional object, right? So here is the top of the foot. Well, really all we have to do is now start to mold this, right, into a 3D idea here. So here we know that this is obviously going to go here, and this is going to be here, and this one is going to be up above. So we know that this idea here is going to be going in that sense over there, and this is obviously over here, so we could take a line and know that this is going to be a curve on this end over here like this, right? So basically you end up doing the same thing, but you do it with the formulas, and when it comes over here to the side of the toe, we know it's just going to connect like this, right? And this is just going to be like this over here. And we also had stated that if you look at this, where this line is going from here, it's going all the way to here, right? So this means that really it would be coming from here going in this direction, right? Something like this. So the point here is that now we can basically erase all this stuff in the middle because we get the concept, right? And now we'll start to see a three-dimensional object automatically, just like this, right? And then you can form the 3D idea even more accurately in this way, right? There really is no difference between this and drawing it out in that 3D way that we had talked about, but this gives you the ability to start to understand the power of the formulas and the ability for the mind to be able to comprehend and develop these ideas, right? Just by thinking about them, right? So some ideas have to be molded much more differently than the foot here, but you can see that we can still get that idea, and obviously then you'll get that box shape over here, right? So if you look at this, where this line is, we already stated that this line really is just going to be like this over here, and here is just going to be going kind of like in this direction, right? So it's the same concept as before. We just got to think about kind of like in perspective, but it's more of a bird's eye view of what this object is. But you can see that we're now thinking like computers, right? So even in the time of Da Vinci and Michelangelo, there were artists who were able to understand the power of formulas that they had created, that they could create three-dimensional objects in this way, right? This is why they had a much masterful understanding of the figure, because they force the mind to get a deep understanding of it, right? So this is what will, things like this, basically the way we've been learning it, is what will get us to that mastery state that we're talking about, because it's really, everything is really our own idea, right? We're talking through the whole concept as if we are pioneering it, and that's what's going to cause the ideas to come together. Right, so we're going to talk about this a little more when we start to get into the muscles, because these concepts and the idea of what truly mastery is to be able to plot onto paper, right? If you wanted to explain to somebody the foot, we can explain it in all these different ways, right? Meaning that because it was our own invention, really, so we can explain anything that we want in any way that we want, right? We're really defining all the rules. Okay, so here, since this is done, right, you can do experiment with this. We don't have to do it with the skull, because we've already solved that problem, right? There were several ways of doing it. We just understood it from two different planes, and we were able to get those concepts, right? So I've shown you two different ways of doing it, from the chest cavity to the human head, and here's another way of looking at a much more odd shape and be able to do that in 3D. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.